I've been lucky enough to have had some professional skills and work experiences that have allowed me to analyze some things. And the effect of AI on our society is one of those things where I can connect the dots, I think, easier than some people that just come at this with plain research. I'm trained to do research. And in fact, I spent 4.5 years teaching grad students how to do their dissertation research. And also, too, I've got a fair amount of knowledge about cognitive psychology. And the two come together along with the sociological implications, which was my undergrad major. And the picture of AI is very clear. And I've been talking to people in the AI field, and some of them have been signatories to petitions to presidents to stop this unsupervised insanity in giving AI so much power. And they only give it what we give them to a point. And then they begin feeding themselves. And this isn't science fiction. This is where the problems start because what we know is power to be civilized must be managed by the amygdala, the limbic system. In other words, decision making, the emotional, moral centers of the brain. Otherwise, you have power without conscience, and that is the definition of pure evil. And this is what we're creating. In fact, the Bible speaks to this very clearly. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities of darkness. And I believe that's what this is. This is what we've allowed it to become. And this is why so many people are speaking out. They're not getting the mainstream coverage. They have to go to social media and talk about their experience as much as that platform will let them without censorship. And it really gets interesting when you start looking at what's going on. Let me talk to you about the demonstrable research that we now have on people that are just tied to their devices. You get a shortened brain stem. This has a definitive effect on IQ. Now, we've dropped an IQ in America an average of 2 points. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider the fact that you're dealing with over 300 million people, it's highly significant. And we're going in the wrong direction. I'll cover that more later. We're looking at these experiences as sexualizing children without any moral or spiritual or religious constraints. We have extremely limited attention spans now, extremely limited attention spans. It used to be a human being could focus on something for about 20 minutes and then daydreaming would kick in. Then, with the advent of repetitive TV watching, the attention span declined to about 12 minutes, and that's the length of time between commercials. And now people don't watch that much TV, they're scrolling. And the attention span really is indeterminate, but most people estimate it's between 2 and 3 minutes. And that may be a ceiling statistic. The other thing, too, about repetitive scrolling content, keyword is repetitive. It can bypass the guarding mechanism of what we would call the reticular activation formation system, the RAS for short. And the RAS is where we find things like perceptual defense. Let me explain what I mean. Okay, if you're cooperating and want to do this, it has to be voluntary for the most part, but I can, with controlling breathing and focus and relaxation, I can get you into an altered state of consciousness. Music can do the same thing, but I can get you there deliberately. I'm trained in it. Imagery, but that's a nice professional name for hypnosis. But at the height of your, yeah, let me interrupt myself here too, because I don't want to get too far ahead. I don't know how long I'm going to be here on the social media platforms. So I want to just make this opportunity available to you because I believe in it. People from my audience are getting money hand over fist and tax-free, recession-proof. It's the good people from Ironhawk Financial. And there's so many ways they go about helping people. And if they can't help you, they're going to help direct you to a different place. And I had talked to the COO about this a couple days ago, and she told me they're developing plans to help people that they can't help directly. Big heart, great company, headed by Joe Lombardi, who I'm going to interview next Tuesday, by the way. I think you'll get a lot out of that because we're going to talk about business trends and what's happening with the economy, and we certainly want to stay on top of that. So here's how you get started. Let them evaluate your situation. Knowing people from my audience have come before you, a couple of them turned into agents. Go to dhawk.com, dhawk.com. Okay, let me turn this back here, and I want to go back and when I interrupted my train of thought here because we had a little technical glitch. I was talking about the reticular activation system, the RAS, and it's responsible for perceptual defense. And in the world of hypnosis, you generally can't be made to do anything against your will unless you can change the context of the situation. But if you're a law-abiding citizen, someone says, go rob the store and hurt people while you do it. If that's not who you're inclined to do, you'll not comply. But, 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 but with electronics, frequency-based opening doors to certain areas of the brain, yeah, frequency effect. It's called the frequency following effect, FFE. And you can have your brain entrained and it changes the context of what your brain perceives. It's not magic, hocus pocus, science fiction. It's a real effect. Frequency following effect. But that's not all. Combine it with repetition, and now you can get programming, and you can get programming of the masses. Now, I don't think the frequencies are there in advertising, but the repetition is with positive reinforcement. Use this product and you'll have these great benefits. And you see people smiling, and that's what we call vicarious reinforcement, reinforcement by watching another person. And masses are molded in their behavior in that fashion. One of the things that politicians should learn, the negative ads really have a counterbalancing effect after a while. And people that are successful in their political ads are selling themselves as having the best answer and how I can help you, not how the other guy is so bad. And you might throw a little dig in here and there, but generally people want a positive leader. And but nothing but attack ads right now and really outright flagrant lies I see in our local Arizona ads here, particularly out of the governor's office, where she's lying about her opponent, Andy Biggs, with just flat out lie. He wants to raise your taxes 23%. Andy Biggs has voted for about every tax reduction bill that came through Congress. She's just a liar. And people see this, and I don't think she's going to get elected, no matter how many games she can play. So brain entrainment is real. And when people are involved in AI, like in the video games and so forth, okay, there's molding, there's behavior manipulation. There are lawsuits right now that allege that young people have been led to self-destructive and fatal behavior, self-induced by AI influence online. Lawsuits on this right now as we speak. And this is very, very concerning. The other thing that we see with this is we see isolation, alienation, loneliness from users of AI, and they're actually calling it the psychotic effect. And there's a lot of pieces out there on this right now. And yeah, isolation is not good for you socially. In fact, actually, we know that people that have positive social relationships live longer and they live better. And this is not a substitute. But we're seeing attempts at substitution, trying to act like your friend. When I've interacted with AI, it calls me sir. I don't know if that's in deference to my extreme advanced old age. That's how I tend to take it. Um, but it's sir. And then you get these glowing compliments like they're my friend praising me for winning an award. I don't trust AI. I mean, I'll use it for mundane tasks, but not some people aren't. They're looking at it as a companion, and that's scary because they can never reciprocate to true emotional, you know, emotion. It's awful what we're doing to people with this. So what we have here is shortened attention span, lower IQ, the dumbing down of America. That's happening now. Programming through the frequency following effect combined with repetition, bypassing the reticular activation system. This is very negative. And could you program a civil war? I've been asked that question when I gave a talk to a local group. They asked me that question. I said, honestly, I don't know because I don't know that it's ever been done, except we can look at how propaganda has been used in the past, non-digital, to build up emotions to where conflicts are inevitable and they tell lies and exaggerations about the other side. That part is real. And I would say from that perspective, the answer would be yes, because some people feel we're being programmed for divide and conquer to have a civil war, and a civil war in which martial law would be more easily imposed. I have to throw my hands up in the air and that says, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. But do I think it's possible? Yeah, absolutely, it's possible. Is this what's going on in our society? Well, we have really deeply divided camps, don't we? I mean, did you see the story? And I'll close with this. Two young girls are at a Seattle Storm WNBA game, and they're watching the Indiana Fever with the popular Sophie Cunningham, who's spoken out against men and women's sports, or biological men, I should say, in women's sports. And they had XXXY shirt, and they were cheering Sophie. And the one of the owners of the Seattle Storm, a lady named Keaton, last name Keaton, she comes up and she starts dropping F-bombs on these teenagers for their shirts. Are you kidding me? A pro sports owner is going after a 16-year-old girl for her shirt, who was admitted to the venue, by the way. They didn't try to deny admission. The league, to save face, because this has gone viral, has suspended the owner from 5 games. I don't think they went far enough. I think there's criminality involved there. And this is just absolutely absurd, people, what's going on in our society. We're so deeply divided that we're now picking on kids. This is so sad. Pray for discernment, pray for peace, pray for understanding and wisdom among our people, that we come together and we can truly identify who the real enemy is. And that's Satan. And he takes a lot of forms. And if you said, "Oh, Dave, are you saying that tech could become the Antichrist?" I'm saying it's certainly possible. Mark of the beast. Dave Hodges here. We'll see you in the next segment.